the travesty that could be the Heisman, and I get it. Whoever wins it is going to have a great season and all that. And so I'll give you a little stat here where we had debated on the Tailgate Show, if you had to bet one guy, Julian Sayin or Jeremiah Smith, I was erring on Sayin only because I think the quarterback inherently has an advantage anyway. Jeremiah Smith would have a real say in a year where the usual suspects before the season have dropped out. Okay? So you've got all these newbies jumping up. The people that thought maybe Fernando Mendoza would be good, but not this. Yeah. And Marcel Reed's obviously a dual threat that gives him a little bit of an advantage over some other quarterbacks. And the travesty that is Carnell Tate is ridiculous. Now, I know he has Jeremiah Smith to pull defenders away, but that's not this. That's not what we're watching. We're not watching a guy who's always open because they're doubling Jeremiah every play.
He's making tough grabs. Tough grabs.
This is a high wire act.
Yeah.
And I looked on Bet365 and other places to see if you could even find him.
Where's he at?
Where's he at is the answer. That is the answer.
Yeah. Can't find him on
I
there.
can't find him.
Crazy.
And so, and I've been saying this for weeks when he's making those circus grabs earlier in the year. I thought the Heisman was about highlights as much as it is stats. Heisman moments. I really thought that has a lot for somebody that doesn't have like the floor of stats. You need the Heisman reel to kind of get you in there. And yes, does Jeremiah Smith have more catches? He does. Does he have more yards? Barely. Does he have more touchdowns? Barely. One. And I swear to you, if they swapped uniforms and you didn't know, Carnell Tate would be up for the Heisman right now. He'd be top 3. There's no way, because perception would meet reality. And I think that it's really awful he's not in the mix. The other thing I'll tell you about Sayin, who now is in the mix, but it took Carson Beck to lay in a massive egg for this to happen.
Yeah, what was that?
But Julian Sayin, before kickoff this week, this is after the Carson Beck debacle against Louisville. Julian Sayin was 14-1 before kickoff against Wisconsin.
What a leap he's made since then.
At halftime, I grabbed him at 8-1. So I lost 6.
Yeah.
After the game, 4-1.
He is now, AR, plus 375.
So he's less than 4-1.
Right now. Your leaders at Bet365. Leading the clubhouse, Fernando Mendoza plus 275, Ty Simpson plus 300, and then Julian Sayin plus 375. You can now get Jeremiah Smith at plus 3,000. So the gap between those two guys
his went the other way.
Has finally happened, because even AR going back to the off season, right before we kicked off anything, you looked at the odds and Jeremiah and Julian were right there, either with the same exact odds or right beside each other. Julian has made a massive leap, and he has the third best odds, according to Vegas, to get to New York and win this thing.
And he should be in the mix.
Because, go ahead, Aaron.
It's not, well, I was going to say that Jeremiah went the other way. They were both 14-1 before kickoff. All right. So the one travesty is the Carnell Tate thing. And I'm going to bang that drum all year.
He might mess around and win the Biletnikoff.
Well, that would be outstanding if he did. And what happens is, and this, I get this, is perception, that when you have the best talent, you got a guy that's getting 5 minutes to throw, and they're overmatching a lot of these teams as 3-4 touchdown favorites, that they're going to be stat games. The difference is that Carnell Tate's catches are not stat catches. They're not.
You mean like layups? These are not layups.
They're not where there's nobody within 10 yards of him. Yeah. These are high wire act. These are double coverage. These are back shoulder fades. These are one-handed grabs. These are toe tapping on the sideline. Yeah. These are fingertip grabs.
He's doing everything.
Now he's got the quarterback that's exceeding expectations. That he's not just sitting back in the pocket and picking people apart, which, by the way, early on he can, because teams are allowing that, but he's putting the ball right where he needs to. But now he's rolling out. Now he's throwing on the run. Now he's throwing with accuracy. And so they've got something here, and Vegas is starting to notice because of where the odds have dropped. And it's one of those things that this may come down to, and I understand, by the way, the other part of it, which is Indiana has just come out of nowhere. Not what I mean by that is because last year they were obviously there in the playoff, but nobody knew who Fernando Mendoza was in the Big Ten before he got here from Cal. Like nobody knew. They thought he was good.
Yeah.
They weren't even sure if he was good as Curtis Rourke.
Right.
They weren't sure. And so he's got that kind of like wow factor of that nobody saw it coming. And it's Indiana. Mm-hmm. And he is having a great season. And obviously no one have any problem if he wins the Heisman, if he keeps putting up these stats. Ty Simpson for Alabama has a pathway.
100%.
Because he's got the tougher tests.
Yes.
But Julian Sayin should be in the mix. He is in the mix. His efficiency, his completion percentage, the fact that he is operating now at a clip where they're a throw-first team, and that Ryan Day and Brian Hartline will have to lean into this as much as possible because of what makes them great. Mm-hmm. And then at Michigan, we'll find out whether they go back to the run, pass, or whatever they're going to do, or they take a page out of the Tennessee game last year and let him throw, and they're building to this. And I'm not even talking about taking your shots because I don't want to see Julian Sayin turn from a 300 Tony Gwynn hitter to now he's got to be a slugger and just throw it deep. You take what the defenses are giving you. The patience and the poise that he has right now, along with the talent, has jumped him to third betting favorite in the Heisman. It should. But if you Google right now or try to find Carnell Tate among the top 60 or 50, his name's not even there. And I actually think it's a travesty because of the season that he's having.
It's a very, very tall task for a wide receiver to win this Heisman Trophy, right?
But not even be in the top 60 of not even a name.
Devonta Smith had unbelievable stats. You look at what he did with Mac Jones, like you got to have that and really set yourself apart. And you can't have a running mate with you in the same room that's going to eat off your plate. And I think that's the problem that's hurting Carnell in this topic that you're bringing up, and it's helping Julian. Because I think because of the lack of highlight sexy plays that Jeremiah is having, even though he's having another really good year, and because Carnell is having those moments, and I think in the eyes of non-Buckeye fans and non-Big Ten fans, I don't know if prior to this season or prior to the last few weeks, is he really a household name? I don't know. I don't know that. I know he is for us, but down in Knoxville, down in Tuscaloosa, and in these other parts of the college football country, is Carnell that? I think that's hurting him and helping now Julian in the eyes of this Heisman race, in the eyes of Vegas, because he is now getting that boost of doing a little bit more of that aircraft carrier stuff at the quarterback position. Yeah. So honestly, they're probably all hurting themselves when it comes to the Heisman stuff. They probably don't care about that, nor should they care about that. But I think as you look at Fernando Mendoza and the way that he's being talked about, he doesn't have those same type of weapons, right? We know that. They've got some dudes over there for sure, but they're not on this level. And so I think he will get more of that narrative boost than anybody else, even more so than Julian Sayin and Ty Simpson, because they play at Alabama and Ohio State, and Fernando plays at Indiana.
Yeah, listen, you're fighting that. I admit that. You're fighting that perception, and it's real, and this is not a science, right? Everyone's going to get different criteria. I'll just come back to my original comment. If Jeremiah Smith was making the catches, the types of catches that Carnell Tate was making, he'd be top 5.
I also think, and I agree with that, I also think if Arch Manning was putting together the season that Julian Sayin is having, the Heisman conversation wouldn't even be close right now. As the number one team in the country, quarterback suiting up for the number one team in the country with the stats that he has, this wouldn't even be close.
It's the same thing. That's on in the reverse.
The odds would be what if Arch was doing what Julian's doing right now?
Well, he had the name.
Yeah.
He had the hype. He had the brand. And then he'd have the stats. Yeah. And that's all that it would take. But it's one of those things that I'm less surprised that Julian's now in the top 3 than I am about Carnell Tate not even being on the list.
But Jeremiah Smith is still top 10.
Yep. That's right.
30-1 right now.
Still top 10. I mean, he went double the wrong way after this game. Yeah. But, to Tate's credit, he'll campaign for Sayin. Campaign for his quarterback.
And there is only one other position player that's a non-quarterback inside the top 10, and it's
Jeremiah.
TLC's boy, Jeremiah Love, who they put on a show. The running backs did for Notre Dame this past weekend. That was
very Gus. That was close.
Oh, was it my Gus Johnson bag right there?
I felt it. I heard it. I don't know if you meant it, but it was very Gus.
So
It
I
was
got
good.
a little Gus in me, and
was.
you know, sometimes you get in your Mel Kiper
Yeah, that's
bag.
right.
I love when you do
Yeah.
that. Okay, got okay.
It's intercepted at the goal line.
You didn't lose your voice there.
Unbelievable.
I'll tell you what, Gus Johnson,
Jack Sawyer.
he's got some competition. This Eric Collins guy that usually calls games for the Hornets, that's now doing some, I think, NFL or college. He's got that same type of energy level. So there's some competition out there for who's the most rah-rah, you know, play-by-play guy right now. Eric Collins is fun.
All right, when we come back, you guys have to advise me as power of a